Cervical Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
All month long, we've been talking to professionals, both people, midwifery, doctors, nurses, about cervical cancer, and we've been telling you at home to tell your mother, your sister, your niece, your daughter to get tested. And today we're going to talk to a survivor about her journey and how important it is to detect it early so that you can treat it and we won't have to die from it.
Yeah. Well, we've been joined by Stacy Amoateng, who is a media personality and also, like Dziffa said, a survivor. Good morning, Stacy. How are you?
Good morning, both of you. You're looking good.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
looking
Only
good.
the two of you can get me up this early.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's
you so
fantastic having you here.
I miss you.
Well, I miss you too. It's been
You're
ages.
the only one who can really capture me. When are we doing it again?
Well, we're going to do some photos soon. So
Yeah, we have
It's
to.
good to have you here. Stacy, now I didn't know this, so when we, Dziffa said you were coming on the show, I was like, oh my goodness, okay.
Okay, you actually knew.
I did?
You didn't know.
Yeah.
Because when we did the last session, I told you, okay, I wanted to have a photo shoot because I just got well and I wanted new
that's
pictures.
what it was.
Yeah, so that is what it was.
Okay.
So for those of us who were not there for the photo shoot and everything else, tell us a bit about the journey. What exactly happened?
Well, it was normal. Like, you'd wake up and you're not feeling good and you're like, okay, it's just another sick day. Let me just try and go to the hospital and get some treatment. So the treatments were going on for whatever it was, nobody knew until one young doctor, who is a friend, said, okay, we tried everything and you're not getting better, so can we have a PAPS, maybe? And I'm like, no, hold it. Why that? I mean, it could be any other thing. Why? Then he's like, it's just because of the way you're going, because you're going down in weight, and we've tried everything, nothing is wrong with you. So I'm just thinking, it doesn't kill. Let's just go for the kill. Let's do it. Reluctantly, mostly when you've heard about something, and I felt, or at least that's what I knew, that I did not have any history of cancer in my family.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's nobody with cancer in my family. If you talk about pressure, maybe diabetes, but that, Then he was like, but there is always a starting point.
Yeah.
So let's just do it. You never know. I said, okay, let's do it. And at that time, I knew about it. I was very cautious. I had not done any of the things they would say you would do to get it. So I'm like, it's just like being cautious of your surroundings and someone is telling you have cholera.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's just do this. So just around that time, my periods were also not coming. And when they do, sometimes it comes twice in a month.
Oh, wow.
So my uncle, Dr. Daniel Asari, who happens to be the CEO of Kolebu now, was in Cape Coast then. So I went to visit him, and he's very cool like that. He actually wanted me to be a doctor, and I swept him. So I went to him, and I'm like, Uncle, I don't feel good. And even growing up, he was among the few people I could talk to medically when it had to do with my body. So I was like, Uncle, I said, I'm not feeling good. This is what I'm feeling. Then he asked me, are you on any family planning? I'm like, what has family planning got to do with this? He said, I just want to know. I said, okay. And these are some of the things mostly doctors will not talk about. I said, okay, I have the IUD. He said, how long have you had? I said, for a while. He said, which type? I'm like, how do I know which type? I just went for an IUD, and that's it.
Yeah.
He was like, would you mind if I get the nurses to take it out for us to see something? I was like, Doc, you want your nurses to see me? He said, no, I just want to see something. Yeah. So he called one of the nurses. They took me to a room. She asked me to spread out. I did. She went inside and brought something out. Really, when I had the IUD, I had just undergone surgery. And I love my body. I hate pain. So I told them, right after the surgery, just fix the IUD.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how it was done or anything. Yeah. So the nurse took out the thing and she was like, E. So I was like, why? What is E? Then it was like a Caesar. So she took it, put it on a tray, as if she had seen the most disgusting thing in her life. So I asked her, why? What's wrong? She said, maybe your uncle should see this. So she took the tray back. My uncle saw it and said, what on earth? I said, Uncle, what is it? He said, this thing is almost like copper.
Wow.
And this one, we've stopped using it. It has to be in the form of a rubber. Because this one can actually rust. And I'm sure if you have the opportunity to talk to Dr. Asari, he can give you more education. He said, this one, we stopped using it. Who fixed it? I said, I don't know. I wanted an IUD, and I got it. So he said, it's rusted. Then I looked at him, then it clicked what the first doctor said. So I said, okay, so what are the risks? What can happen? And he has a way of joking about things. He said, oh, then right now means your cervix and everything down there, your pelvis is actually rotten.
Wow.
And he said it in a joke, so I started laughing. Then he said, listen, let's be real. This is like a copper-like metal that has these strings attached. So normally, even when like tin is exposed to air and water, you see the rust. So this thing has been there for a while. So let's not kid ourselves. We have to be concerned. So he actually pep talked me more into looking at it seriously. And he always has a way of making things look light. He said, you know what? Every death is death. I'm not saying you're going to die, but you can actually be healthy. You can be on all sort of diets, but you can get knocked by a car and you're dead. So don't be scared. It's not like there is no treatment. There is treatment, and I need you to just psych yourself that we're going to go through this journey together. So I said, okay, and I took a breather. So at that time, I had actually taken a break from TV because it was too much for me. And when you're not well, sometimes the people who even visit you make it worse. I had friends visit and they cried as if I was dead. Like, I'm not dead, I'm still here. Because honestly, I lost my hair. I went down to a size 0. I couldn't eat. My stomach couldn't hold food. So the last time I was having a conversation with Dr. Coleman and Dr. Yongo and I was telling them, everybody is different. We have had people who have said they bloated, who had some other reactions. I couldn't hold food. I went down from a size 10 to a size 0. I lost my hair not even going through chemo. Just the knowledge of knowing that this is what I was dealing with was killing enough. Yes, and I watched my children look at me and not know what was wrong with their mother. And I became so paranoid, I couldn't trust anything around me. I had to let my kids go out of school for a year because I just needed sanity. I just moved out of Accra and I found a safe haven at that time. I went to a Dziffa prayer camp. I just needed to be in tune with my spirit. I needed to search myself because I had questions. I'm like,
but Stacy, all week long we've heard from health officials that there are no symptoms for cervical cancer, and today we're hearing hair loss, weight loss, blood. You had your period twice a month. At what point were you actually diagnosed that what you have is cervical cancer?
You know, like they said, there is no point you can detect. So it could actually be that it had been happening for a while. But because in the first place I was in denial, like, oh, this cannot happen to me, this cannot happen to me. And I'm one kind of a person, I'm very stubborn. And when I'm afraid of something, I do not want to know. I just want to say, I'm going to get fine. Keep all the information to yourself. Because sometimes hearing about it alone can depress me. It can make... That was why I said I started losing my hair without even going through chemo. Because I was reading about it. And I'm like, okay, so if you're going through chemo, this is what is going to happen. Just the thought of it actually gave me the side effect of something I wasn't on. So everybody is different. I am a very strong-spirited person. So what my spirit accepts actually has a heavy toll on me than what I experience physically. So that was it. That was how come I decided to shut myself out. I didn't want to talk to anybody. My phones were off at that time. There were speculations in the media space that I had died. Some said I was pregnant. I had left TV. It was a whole lot. And I was going through so much that nobody knew about. That was the most darkest part of my life.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding.
Stacy, at which point did you know that you were finally on the road to health?
That point was at my uncle's office at the Cape Coast Regional Hospital. When the nurse brought that thing out, and my uncle saw it and made that joke, after that there was some silence. As I know my uncle loves me to death. I saw the look in his eye. It was a look that was like, is she going to die? Yes, and you know doctors have a very pleasant way of giving you bad news. And I had seen my uncle give people bad news, and I saw the look. So for a minute, I was scared. Then it dawned on me. So he was like, so what are we going to do now? I said, I don't want to know what you're going to do, but do what you have to do.
Okay.
Don't give me the lecture. Don't take me through whatever. What do we need to do? Then he gave me the options. I said, okay, these are the options. Can we also do it my way? Because I believe in everything.
Yeah.
Everything that has a name is possible. So you have given me the options. Can we also try something my way? So he asked me, what do you want to do? I said, I know that our body is actually influenced by what we take in. Can we start it off with what I eat? Can I flush my whole system? Then we can. Then he started laughing. He said, what is there to flush? The last time I heard, the only thing you eat are watermelons. So what is there to flush? I said, maybe let's just start with a diet. Then he said, are you scared to do any of the procedures? I said, I am not scared. I don't want to be scared. But I don't want to be confronted with it now. So for about 4 months, he was like 4 to 5 months. My uncle was like my venting zone. I think I vented to him more than I vented to my husband. Because you'd wake up and find your beautiful wife just change in a matter of months. And it was too much for him. We're a young couple trying to enjoy our lives. And I remember there was one morning I had to go to the hospital. So he went to the car and he was waiting for me to join him in the car. And at that time, I had become so thin. So as I walked out from the living area to the car, my husband just broke down and started crying.
Oh, my goodness.
That was the first time I had seen him cry through that time. He broke down and he cried. And for a moment, I was like, no way. Why is he crying? And Dziffa and David, honestly, at that time, I never looked myself in the mirror. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know how I was looking. So I wasn't even brushing my teeth in front of the mirror. I wasn't doing that. I would just be in the bathroom, brush, get water. I would not look in the mirror. So when I saw that, I just went back in and I decided to look at myself in the mirror. And I had the horror of my life. I had changed. I had become about, let's say, 20 years old or 30 years old. I had changed. My color had changed. I had become darker than you.
Wow.
Yeah, I was darker than you. Everything just changed. That was the point I realized I had to take this thing serious. Because there was no way I was going to die. Dying? No way. You die because you give up. I said, no, I'm a fighter. I've been through worse things than this growing up. I'm not going to die. I'm going to fight this. They can say you can't beat it. I'm going to beat it. Because in my life, everything I've desired, everything I've wanted, I got it. So at that point, I said, fine. I need to have a meeting with God. So I sat on my bed and I said, hello, man up there, we need to talk. And I poured out. I said, I do everything. I pray. I go to church. I do everything you ask me to do. So why this? If you allow this thing take my life, then you're not God. You better show yourself, because I'm not going nowhere. And if you let me die, you can take your heaven, because it means you have not been faithful to your word. Because a lot of men of God have said things to me that I've not seen. So if I go, then you're not God. So I put God that challenge, and that day I didn't even say amen, because I was pissed off. I just said that, walked back to the car, and drove with my husband. And that was the only time music made meaning to me. Wow. You know, there are times you hear certain songs and they're songs. Yeah. But at this time, every song I listened to spoke to my soul. Wow. It made sense. It made sense. I remember there was one morning I was listening to No Tribe. Nyame donema. Now he won't feel how move. And when it got to the chorus, Mirawa Papa, Enida Sunina Rasano, I was upset. I said, okay, if you are distressed and all hope is gone and God is going to show up, why is he not showing up now? So some of them gave me hope, some of them made me angry. Then I began to appreciate music. So my uncle would, at that time I was at the prayer camp, which was just a few minutes to Cape Coast Hospital. So he would call me, go in, do whatever I had to do. And he would tell me, you're going to get well. And I'll look at him and say, Doc, I'm going to get well. I know that. I'm not going to die. Nobody is going to take any offering on my head. If anybody is going to bring money, it will be a Thanksgiving offering money. So don't worry, I'm going to be fine.
And we are thankful for your life. Now, any advice for women out there who are watching us, going out to get birth control, IUD, they don't even know the different types there are. They get the diagnosis and they don't want to face it head on. They don't want to know the options available. What would you tell them this morning?
What I'm going to tell every woman is everybody is different. So when it comes to your body, you should get to understand your body. And I am very spiritual, so with everything, I make sure it's in sync with my being, with my soul before I do it. Yes, birth control is very good because as busy women, we live in a very enlightened world. So we would want to plan our lives. So you don't say that because Dziffa did the implant and it worked well for her, it's going to work for me. Don't forget, you have different DNA. She has different hormones. So the fact that it worked for Dziffa does not mean it worked for me. Some people have done the IUD and they are awesome. They've not had problems. Some have done it, they've bled. Some have done implants, they've bloated. So we're all very different. Before you decide to make any choice, you should talk to your gynae, you should talk to your doctor. Be sure that is what you want. Read about the side effects, know what you're going in for. Then you can make a choice. Then about being tested, it's not a death wish. It's not. It's better to know than not knowing. Better late than never. And prevention is always better than cure. Once you get tested, you know what you're in for. And don't be like me. I have a very stubborn spirit. You should get tested. And if you are positive, make sure you're listening to your doctors. I didn't listen to my doctors. I kept arguing. And that is not what you have to do. Because if I had not argued at the time I was confronted with it, I'm sure maybe I wouldn't have gotten to the stage I did. So sometimes we all try to be a little bit too known. But you should listen to your doctors. Because doctors are there to save our lives. And I'm not sure your doctor would want to see you die. So let's take it serious. On Thursday, we'll be at the Akua Psychiatric Hospital. And we'll be having free screening. So if you're a woman, kindly join us. If you're a man, bring your mother, bring your daughters, bring your sisters, bring your wives. It's very important because when the wives are sick, the home is sick. So bring your wives. Let's get screened.
Thank you so
very much.
If I want to see you get screened,
I will be there.
I will do your
I've done the
screening.
screening already, but I'm getting addicted.
Then come help me. Let's screen more
I'll
women.
be there. I'll be there this Thursday.
I don't want to leave.
I know.
I don't want to leave.
But thank you so much for sharing your story because
me.
we're in a country where people don't share their stories.
And it kills us.
And
it kills us. We have to, as Africans, we have to learn to share.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much. Thank you, Stacy. Well, it's time for us to go, and up next is the news review segment. We've been talking to Stacy Amoateng. She's a media personality as well as a survivor of cervical cancer.
Hi there. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends.
This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.